This is the newsroom.
This is the newsroom for Monday, July 28, 2025. We're broadcasting to you on E1, SKAR TV, NTN, and TARZEE TV in Bartica. In headlines, President Ali presents 5-year plan for poverty reduction and to address cost of living woes.
These are essential measures that help to enhance and improve our quality of life.
More Guyanese get scholarships to study petroleum sciences. Political parties intensify public engagements ahead of 2025 elections. And in sport, Mahdia Movements Family crowned Essequibo Zone champions of T10 Blast. With the news, I'm Rashani Raghuwar. Thanks for joining. President Dr. Ali is promising a comprehensive 5-year strategy to tackle poverty, ease the cost of living, and grow Guyana's economy from the ground up. Kurt Campbell has the details.
In a live Sunday afternoon broadcast on Facebook, the president outlined what he called a deliberate and clear strategy targeting the most vulnerable and laying the foundation for sustainable long-term transformation. Dr. Ali said this plan would be rolled out over the next 5 years during his second term in government and builds on efforts during his first term. From pensioners and single parents to school children and hinterland families, the president says no one will be left behind.
So we have crafted some very specific issues in addressing poverty, in addressing cost of living, all aimed at ensuring all of our country grow in this period of economic expansion.
Among the key measures, higher old age pensions and public assistance grants, targeted financial aid for single parents and persons living with disabilities, bigger cash transfers and increased public servant salaries, access to free education, including textbooks, transportation, and digital tools, and healthcare subsidies for critical services like dialysis and cancer care. Dr. Ali said the goal is to meet families where they are with school feeding programs, free spectacles and dental care, and even help to build homes. And for those at the lower end of the income bracket, there is a pledge to reduce taxes and simplify the system to leave more money in the people's pockets.
Are ways in which we are directly removing these costs from the ordinary family, costs of these essential services, supporting a higher quality of life and reducing poverty. And these are essential measures that help to enhance and improve our quality of life within the communities themselves.
But that's not all. The cost of living is getting direct attention, starting with a bold move to slash electricity and cooking gas prices by half.
These are things that we have done and that we'll continue to do. We will also provide additional cash grant support for individuals. We have already said that we'll reduce the cost of electricity by 50%. We'll reduce the cost of gas, and that is cooking gas, which is essential. And remember, addressing poverty is also how we address essential services. And cooking gas is an essential service. Reducing that by half is addressing poverty electricity. Reducing that by half is an essential service. So when you have not only accessibility and reliability, but the cost of energy coming down by half, that directly address poverty because this is an essential service.
Other pledges include no new taxes in the next term, free water and health care for vulnerable citizens, free transportation for school children, pensioners and hinterland residents, and the complete removal of all out-of-pocket school costs. The president said these aren't handouts, they're part of a broader economic vision. And that economic vision goes beyond social support. At its core is a strategy to expand productivity. The plan includes grants and co-investment for small and medium-sized businesses, part-time job programs coupled with skills training, lower interest loans with relaxed collateral rules, subsidies for low-income housing, and support for the arts, forestry, fishing, and mining.
Support the productive sector. That is why our farmers can look for support, whether it's fertilizer, drainage and irrigation, specific financing arrangement to support their production, agro-processing, developing markets, supporting those markets, packaging and drying facility. All of these things will be directed towards improving the productivity and profitability for our farmers.
Expect more agro-processing hubs, cold storage facilities, and packaging support, especially to boost rural economies. The rice and sugar industries will also see fresh investments alongside help for community forestry groups. Transport infrastructure will also get a major upgrade. New roads, bridges, and regional ports will help connect producers to markets. For the newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
Thank you, Kurt. Now, for the third year in succession, 4 top Guyanese students have been awarded scholarships to study petroleum sciences at leading universities in China. This year's scholars are Una Herman, Anna Jeffers, Rondell Rutherford, and Tamika Sam. They will travel to China next month to join 2 previous batches of students already pursuing their degrees under the same scholarship, made possible by a collaboration between CNOOC Petroleum Ghana Limited and the Government of Ghana through the Ministry of Natural Resources.
We for sure, we'll always keep, our commitment, to doing the CSR as we did, previously. The education is one of the pillars. We're trying to stay focused because we all understand how powerful a force education can be. Let me to assure you and your parents, CPGL, we'll try everything within our control to ensure you will have very smooth, safe, successful the stay in China. I think what you need to do is just to be prepared yourself, to get ready to embrace, to get into new the friends. But for sure, as Tony, the challenge you to stay focused and study.
By investing in the education of Guyana's youth, CNOOC is not only supporting the development of the petroleum industry, but also contributing to the long-term growth and the prosperity of Guyana.
You have that responsibility to showcase Guyana in one of the most developed countries in the world. That is another responsibility you do have. So it's not only going there and acquiring a degree, a Bachelor of Science degree, but it's also to promote your country. That when you left China, that those you would have touched, those who you would have conversed with, that they will understand what Guyana really and truly holds and what we are about as a small country on the coast of South America.
At a ceremony hosted by CNOOC Petroleum Ghana Limited at their Kingston headquarters, the 2025 awardees received advice and expressed gratitude and appreciation for the opportunity. Upon completion of their degrees, the recipients will commence working in Ghana's oil industry, utilizing their newly acquired skills for the development of their country, as well as themselves and their families.
As a young Indigenous woman from the village of Oriala, this scholarship represents a golden chance, not just for me, but for my family and my community. I take this opportunity to show my younger siblings that there's no limit to what we can do or where we can go. We carve our own paths, and this right here is how I'm carving mine.
This scholarship is a breakthrough for me and my family. It brings relief, pride, and opportunity, especially knowing that I have a chance to gain world-class training in petroleum engineering and to bring back that knowledge and skill set to contribute meaningfully to Guyana.
I want to say I'm very grateful for this opportunity to go and study in China, and I would like to say it's going to be a very big experience for me as I'm coming out of my own culture to experience others. And I would say I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very proud of my mom for raising me and bringing me to this point in life where I can pursue my dreams as a petroleum engineer
While in China, I plan to embrace every aspect of the experience, not only academically, but also culturally and personally. I will continue developing my Mandarin, immerse myself in a new environment, and return home equipped with the knowledge, skills, and global perspective needed to contribute meaningfully to Guyana's growing energy sector. I aim to uphold my family's pride and reassure both organizations that they entrusted this scholarship to someone who will make it count.
We tell you now that the trial into the March 2020 general and regional elections resumed on Monday, and a decision was taken for a site visit to be done at the Ashmans building, which is a central location referenced throughout the trial. The visit is slated for Wednesday at 9:30 hours. The Ashmans building, which served as the Guyana Elections Commission command center during the 2020 elections, has been described as a critical location, or locus, in the legal proceedings. The visit is intended to allow the court and legal teams, both the prosecution and defense, to gain first-hand insight into the physical space referenced throughout the trial. The court has granted permission for the visit to be video recorded and for measurements to be taken, enhancing the documentation of the inspection. Witnesses who have already testified in the case will accompany the court in the visit. They include the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Sonia Perak, local observer Rosalinda Rasool, former Region 4 Police Commander Edgar Thomas, and Kian Jabor. The locus inspection, a common legal procedure in both civil and criminal trials, allows the court to observe the site of the events to clarify testimony, resolve discrepancies, and better understand the dynamics of the evidence. Witnesses will also be areas they refer to during their testimony. 9 individuals are currently before the court charged with conspiring to manipulate the election results in favor of the APNU AFC, thereby seeking to deny victory to the PPP. Those charged include former Government Minister Walter Lawrence, former Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowingfield, former Region 4 Returning Officer Claremont Bingo, and former Deputy Chief Elections Officer Roxanne Mars, among others. Still to come, political parties intensify their engagement efforts ahead of the 2025 elections. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is the newsroom. President Dr. Finale on Saturday evening outlined a list of plans to develop Region 2 and link the region to surrounding coastal and hinterland areas during his second term in office. More big plans were announced by several speakers from the People's Progressive Party Civic at the party's rally at the Anna Regina Market Square. Thousands of supporters from the Pomeroon River to those from across the Essequibo coast gathered at the Anna Regina Market Square on Saturday for the People's Progressive Party Civic's elections rally. With their flags in hand, both those for the party and Guyana's Golden Arrowhead, the individuals seemed keen on showing their support for the governing party. And in turn, they heard of the big plans for their region should the PPP be voted back into office.
You're voting because your government will invest in the labs and having a medical school right here in Essequibo so your children can be doctors right here in Essequibo. We will be investing in all of the facilities so that you can have a faculty of engineering right here in Essequibo so your children can become engineers right here. We are not done yet. We will ensure that rice is successful and profitable here in Essequibo and everywhere else. You can be assured if subsidy is needed, so be it. You will get it under the People's Progressive Party Civic government. That is why we have a comprehensive plan for rice. Investing in your drainage and irrigation, they charge you for that. Giving you farm-to-market access roads, reducing the input costs, building a fertilizer plant to support our farmers, rice farmers, but more importantly, giving Guyanese the chance of owning that fertilizer plant by co-investing with you.
Guyana's President Dr. Finale, who's seeking a second term in office, was clear on what can be delivered for the region. However, Vice President and the PPPC's General Secretary Dr. Bartica reminded the gathering of the party's track record. That is, if a promise is made, it will be delivered.
To change the circumstances, and we did. We prevailed when they tried to steal the elections. And today, if we had not prevailed when they tried to steal the elections, if we didn't defend democracy, Guyana would have been like Venezuela. They implemented all of these policies. We promised to reverse them. You've heard a bit from some of the people who spoke before me about the promises that we delivered on. We did no new taxes in 5 years, reversing 200 plus taxes, giving back the children their money, $11 billion. The 200,000 children received from the $55,000 grant. $11 billion per year in the pockets of their families. We double old age pension. That's $19 to $20 billion more per year the pensioners get in their pockets. We start spending back on farm to market roads. We reverse the taxes on the value added tax on machinery and equipment, on pesticides, on fertilizer, on electricity, on water, on food. All of these things we did. We gave back the joint services their bonus. We started creating jobs once again because under APNU, 35,000 jobs were lost.
Guyana's general and regional elections are scheduled for the 1st of September 2025. Reporting for the newsroom, Vishani Raghabir. We tell you now that opposition leader Aubrey Norton on Saturday night urged his supporters to accept assistance from any political source, whether they are in government or a leopard, referring to both the incumbent PPPC and businessman Azruddin Mohammed's emerging Win Party, while rehashing key elements of APNU's promises. In a sparsely attended public meeting at Baggotsville, Norton said the APNU AFC coalition is focused on delivering real solutions for the country, not handouts and theatrics.
So, a leopard that can't change the spots could come and tell them, I can give you from what I got. Don't be fooled. A leopard doesn't change its spots. If you're thieving then, you're going to thief in the future. Let us be clear. The only political party that has outlined a clear vision for young people is the APNU. We have said we will revamp the education system. We will ensure we train more teachers, give them a livable income. And what I'm about to say now, I bet you're going to say it at the next meeting. The class sizes in the schools are too large. We will bring them to a manageable size. We will train the teachers and ensure that children can get proper teaching. We will pay the teachers so they want to stay in the job and they can live a comfortable life. We need to be very clear. The solution to a lot of our young people not having skills is not taking a 10,000 here from a leopard or 10,000 here from a thief in the cup. The solution lies in a comprehensive program of teaching our young people and giving them skills. And we in the APNU say to you, we will give you the skills you need to live a decent life and mind your family. That is what we promise you to do.
In a move aimed at strengthening support for victims of gender-based violence, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security has launched a Women's Hub at Virgin Newton Region 3. The hub is located within the Hope and Justice Center building and is designed to serve as a one-stop shop for individuals in need of urgent assistance. Victims will be able to access legal, medical, and social services all under one roof, streamlining the process of getting help during critical times. Significantly, the facility also includes a temporary shelter that offers a haven for those escaping violent environments.
The Hope and Justice Center opened here last year, opened with a purpose. It is the second of these centers in our country, and it's the largest of two centers, which simply means that Region 3 will have more services in the Hope and Justice Center. And it was carefully situated because we also would like those beyond the shores to come here to use this center until we have one of these in every region across the length of Guyana. Our government's commitment to eradicating gender-based violence has been built on a foundation of care and concern for every life in this country. Too often, we see many persons losing their lives, being injured or hurt because of perpetrators of violence. If you look at the survivors of violence, 98% of them have families. It's not that they're without families, but we need to do more. While as a government and as the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, we have a responsibility which we honor and we are committed to. I want to say families need to adhere to their responsibilities to ensure if violence is happening to a loved one, they intervene. Don't wait until it gets out of hand and you don't report. So the Hope and Justice Center is built for a special kind of reporting. In other words, because you have an officer stationed right here all the time at the Hope and Justice Center, any survivor of violence can come right here to report any case of violence. You don't have to go to a police station. We're also going to be setting up a forensic interview unit right here and a child advocacy center right here to deal with cases of child abuse. And today I have the pleasure of seeing something Dr. Husbands and I would have been talking about for a long time. And you were the first to have it here in Region 3. And that is a safe space for women. Sometimes it is not abuse. Sometimes it's just for your emotional balance and equilibrium. Sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you just need to know that empowerment is a stone's throw from where you are.
The Minister of Human Services and Social Security on Monday launched the National Integrated Early Childhood Development Policy. This policy is a product of the Ministry's Child Care and Protection Agency in collaboration with UNICEF. It will provide children aged 0 to 3 years old with the ability to receive much-needed resources during their developmental years. The policy is a blueprint for systemic change in Ghana and part of the country's commitment to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. During a ceremony held at the Herdmanston Lodge, Georgetown, the subject minister, Dr. Vinay Prasad, said Ghana received technical support from UNICEF and generous financial contributions from the Government of Canada.
The policy mission is to promote and coordinate the provision of inclusive and quality integrative early childhood development services and programs that guarantee optimal growth and development of all children 0 to 3 years in Guyana.
We know that the early years of life are the most critical as they shape the architecture of the brain, influence lifelong health and well-being, and lay the foundation for learning and social development.
We tell you now that a 2-day regional health security workshop hosted by the Caribbean Public Health Agency called CARFA is on the way at the Pegasus Hotel in Georgetown, Guyana. The event brings together representatives from across the Caribbean to discuss and operationalize the 2022 Regional Health System Framework to transition it from strategy to actionable plans.
The Caribbean Public Health Agency called CARFA is currently hosting a 2-day Regional Health Security RHS workshop at the Pegasus Hotel in Georgetown. The workshop comes at a critical time as the region continues to face increasing trends in infectious diseases, along with new and emerging health threats. Ghana's Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, in his address spoke about the country's active role in implementing health security measures. He highlighted that while countries cannot necessarily predict the next pandemic or public health emergency, they can prepare, and the workshop is a critical step in that direction.
Guyana is demonstrating that with vision, with partnership and political will, we can close the preparedness gaps and build resilient health systems. Health security, colleagues, is not an issue for tomorrow. It is the defining challenge of our age. It transcends ministries, disciplines, and borders. It is about lives and livelihoods and systems and structure, and about science and humanity.
CARFA Executive Director Dr. Lisa Indar, during her address, highlighted that regional health systems must be improved at both the regional and national levels.
A multi-tiered, One Health, cross-sectional, well-coordinated approach to regional health security is especially crucial for the Caribbean success, as this region is uniquely characterized by small, under-resourced populations with varying surveillance, lab, and human resource capacities, highly interconnected, porous borders, heavy reliant on tourism, and high susceptibility to the impact of climate change and disasters. This combination of factors increases the region's exposure and vulnerability to infectious disease spread, which are highly transmissible. Consequently, under the regional health security, prevention and preparedness and response to public health emergencies must be improved, not just at national level, but at regional levels.
The workshop marks a significant step forward in building a safer, healthier, and more resilient Caribbean region. It is expected to strengthen agencies' coordination and collaboration mechanisms for future pandemics. For Newsroom, Isinella Patwo.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather, and bridge reports, along with sport news. Stay with us.
to Newsroom. We are coming to you from Essequibo, the venue for the final leg of the Cares 1 Guyana T10 Tapeball Blast. And what a blast we had last evening at the Anna Regina ground. Alongside me, Akeem Green, and a wonderful final. Let me quickly go through what happened in that grand final. Mahdia Movements Family, 112 for 9 batting first, 40 from Andrew Gibson, 16 from Irshad Ali, 12 each from Andy Lal and Ricardo Adams. Among the wickets, runs for beaten, 3 for 23, Amir Mohammed 3 for 24, and Avinash All-Stars batting 104 for 5, falling short of that target. Kyle Mears, the West Indies player, getting 53 not out of 25 deliveries, and 25 from Marlon Goodman, another Bajan playing for Avinash All-Stars. They fell short. 2 wickets for Raiden Austin, who bowled pretty well and leading from the front for Mahdia Movements Family. 1 each for Suresh Danai, Irshad Ali, and Dianarain Sigo Bin. Victory for Mahdia Movements Family, and they're into that national playoff happening on August 3rd at the National Stadium, Providence. But Akeem, just to recap this weekend, it was supposed to be 2 days, but because of activities happening in Essequibo, you had to complete that entire tournament in 1 day.
Yeah, it was tough, certainly, from the background, from the organizational standpoint, but also you must have to give extreme appreciation as well to the players to play an entire leg, a zone which others had 2 days, sometimes 3 days. They played it in 1 day across 4 venues, and to the luxury for Essequibo, I know it isn't completed as yet. That is all showing is a game changer for the fact that you could have played on the lights. Look, it was quality from the start, and again, it goes to show that, as the players would have mentioned on the live interviews and whatnot, is that names don't play cricket. Cricket is played on the field, and probably by the reflection of the result at the end of the day, the Avinash team on paper certainly would be the favorites of many, but they didn't win this zone. And Mahdia would have been there previously. They were there in 2024 at the National Stadium, different format, and I would certainly think they would love to go further. However, just overall this weekend, I think Essequibo would have shown the organizers that there is certainly room for development, and I think there's certainly a cricket craze on the Essequibo coast, even persons from within, because teams came from Port Kaituma, Maruka, a lot of teams came in just to play in this competition, and they certainly would have loved it. And I think from a fan perspective, a lot more persons want to come out. So I believe, obviously, with further development of stadiums and more hotel rooms in 2026, we could see the entire national finals shifted to Essequibo.
Yeah, and a wonderful atmosphere created at that Anna Regina ground. We had matches at Pomona Ground, Hampton Court, and Richmond, and those matches, of course, were the preliminary phase of the leg, and then everybody reached up at Anna Regina for that grand showdown. 2 semi-finals, there was an exhibition game as well, and then that grand final on the lights finished around midnight, but spectators were still there, and that showed the interest in the tournament. We have seen this tournament grow in 3 years, lots of interest, not just among teams, but we're seeing spectators coming out and being part of the activities.
Yeah, certainly. I think one of the things, based on my understanding, would have just hampered the flow of the initial plan was obviously the weather.
Yeah.
I think the weather made it difficult to probably market how you would want to, because I guess leading into each weekend before a zone is supposed to start, the uncertainty whether this ground would be available, but due to the weather. What I was seeing at Essequibo, they had the back end of the tournament, and then coming to the Anna Regina ground, which I think you need a thunderstorm to probably stop cricket there.
Wonderful drainage.
Yeah, it is good, or even better than Providence, who knows, but they're certainly on par. So I think that was a luxury, and then they had the lights, so you know that you could have played here at the worst case scenario. But I guess the last minute changes, and the thing about it, what I love about the Essequibo coast as well, is that each of the venues, each of the 4 venues, had a significant amount of community interest in terms of patrons coming out from the homes just to peek and watch. I think there was a massive crowd at Hampton Court because Kyle Mears was there, and many persons who probably won't get to see him play at the National Stadium, they came out close to home and got photos, etc. So I think from that point of view, the tournament is connecting well with persons, and I think as you grow further, you're going to see probably more grassroots teams pop up. And I keep saying, when you play in your own backyard, backyard, it is yours to challenge. So it matters not who comes. You're on home turf. You can defeat anyone. And I think as we go deeper into years to come, you're probably going to see more of the teams from just at home, I guess, becoming stronger, fusing two communities together, you know, and topple the other teams that on paper seem to be favorites.
Yeah, and of course, President Irfan Ali did mention that at some point he wants to have CPL women's match happening here at Anne Regina. And I was talking to some spectators last evening at the game, and when the lights came on, you know, they probably saw a reality of that happening some point. Lots of work still to be done on the venue, but that is not something that could not happen. It is something that would very well happen in the near future. We have CPL matches here, especially the female segment happening here in Essequibo.
Yeah, look, I think it's very much a reality. I think the only concern, and which I think is going to soon be eradicated, is the accommodation aspect.
Yeah.
I think even from our level, we wanted to bring the entire tournament to Essequibo, but obviously the accommodation at this current juncture is a bit limited. However, there are about 3-4 hotels I see popping up in close proximity to the ground. So I would love to think by 2026, I guess even before developments ongoing, that coming here and to host those mega events shouldn't be of much of an issue. Like we said, the facility, even though it isn't completed, is already showing signs that, you know, whenever it is completed, it's going to be of good value, and even to bring to the magnitude of women's CPL here would be good.
Yeah, so going back to the Tapeball tournament, you mentioned Kyle Mears, and he was an attraction last night at the stadium. You know, a lot of people are saying Dapper. They're calling him by his familiar nickname, Dapper. But Marlon Goodman, another Bajan, played in this tournament the very first time. And guess what? He scored 100. I think he's the first, if I remember correctly, the first foreign player to get a significant score in this tournament. 124 not out. Marcus Watkins, his opening partner, also got a half century, 200 out loss in their preliminary game. But he was enthused to be part of the tournament, to be able to come to Guyana, showcase his talent, and he had very good things to say about the tournament.
Yeah, you know, speaking to him last night, I think he explained that it's a bit different in terms of how they play. They actually play 20 over cricket more than the T10, but I think overall is that he's really happy with the festive nature, and I think the amount of people that they would have seen at matches and how many persons have embraced the competition and want to be a part of it. I think he's going to the extreme, I think, which is being pushed by other persons going forward, to have foreign teams as a contingent come to Guyana, which also bodes well for everything, because obviously when they come on their own, they book hotel rooms, you know, they also come and they spend in the country for the weekend. So I think he's very enthused about it. He's also happy to know that he would have scored a century at a ground in Guyana. It has a lot of significance, Hampton Court ground. And so overall, I think he's happy. He was obviously a player drafted by Avinash All-Stars, and I got it that he couldn't get them over the line to August 3rd, but also I think he's very much enthused, probably coming next year with the Bajan side to compete in the tournament.
Yeah, of course, he scored at 100, but he had some heated moments in that final with the Mahdia Movements All-Star guys. He also had a little encounter with Irshad Ali in that phase, but all part of the battle. So let's hear from Marlon Goodman and his thoughts on the tournament.
The atmosphere is great. It's very, very competitive, I can tell you that. I'm looking forward to come back again. To be honest, I would love a Bajan side down here. Barbados been to Dominica last year, and we had a Tri-Nation series with Dominica and St. Lucia, so it'd be great to also have Guyana in a tournament, or they come into Barbados, something. But it would be great to have a tournament between all the guys.
So Marlon Goodman sharing his thoughts there on the Cares 1 Guyana T10 Tapeball Blast, the Essequibo leg that took place this weekend. Now, all attention shifts to the National Stadium Providence, August 3rd, where we'll have that grand showdown. Lots of intense action we could anticipate happening at Providence as we bring the curtains down on what has been a wonderful tournament this year.
Yeah, look, 80 teams, the first time of the expansion, and to narrow it down to 4 quality teams. And I think, you know, at this point it is too close, too hard. If you could call this one, I think you could pick the lotto numbers every day. So it's going to be at the National Stadium. It's going to actually start about from 13 hours 30 with a female game as well. There's also going to be an exhibition game later in the evening as well with sponsors and young upcoming cricketers as well. But in terms of the main thick of things, I think persons should have already noticed by now, it's going to be Titans All-Stars, the defending champions, up against the Mahdia Movements Family in that first semi-final, followed by Montreal Jaguars and Echoes All-Stars in the second semi-final. Obviously, there's going to be that exhibition match between to give the second semi-finalists a time to rest before that grand final. I can tell you, it is hard to pick anyone who's going to win. And obviously, as part of the tournament's playing conditions, you're allowed to draft some additional players for this leg. And based on the rumors that I'm hearing, I think fans could be very much assured that they're going to see some really top-class international players at the National Stadium on August 3rd. Don't want to release the names as yet, but I can tell you, stay tuned to the social media pages. You're going to be very shocked to see some of the quality and caliber of players that are going to be coming on August 3rd. And I think must be reminded, a lot of persons keep asking about the fact that so much quality, there is no cost attached. No, it's free admission. And I think the biggest prize up for grabs at the National Stadium on August 3rd is going to be a motorbike complement of GT Bird through Banks DIH. So one lucky fan is going to actually win a motorbike, and there's lots of prizes through Regal Station and a host of other sponsors, STAR Party Rentals for the players especially. And just to mention a few, obviously Kears Engineering and KFC has also been some key sponsors, but there's lots in store for the players from a cash perspective. But I think for fans coming free admission to win CPL tickets, some motorbike trips overseas, ENET is also putting up some phones as well, and just have to have your ticket stub, which is also free as well. You know, there's lots to win from both ends, and I think the entertainment value from when we start, say after lunch at the National, going to be massive.
Yeah, of course. So Mahdia, date Sunday, August 3rd, the National Stadium, Providence. It's a grand finale of the third Kears Guyana, One Guyana T10 Tapeball Blast, and that goes down right there on that Sunday, where we bring the curtains down on what has been a wonderful tournament in 2025. We hope to see you there. Keep stay tuned to Newsroom and other platforms as we bring you updates on that. Some of the players that are expected to take part in the grand final. We're not going to release the names, as Akeem said, but some interesting names coming on Sunday, August 3rd. Enjoy, and we'll see you back here next time.